Rosemary Regan. Whoops, thank you. Rosemary Regan is a clairvoyant medium, tarot reader, and spiritual teacher with more than 25 years of experience working in service to spirit. She has dedicated herself to the study and practice of mediumship, including intensive training under renowned medium Reverend Elizabeth Brown. With her compassionate presence and practical wisdom, Rosemary helps others navigate life's challenges through spiritual insight, healing, and connection. Her work blends intuition, mediumship, and a deep respect for the spiritual journey, creating experiences that are both meaningful and transformative. Today, she will be sharing a message on the Summer Solstice, a sacred time of light, growth, abundance, and spiritual renewal. Later in the service, Rosemary will be offering flower messages, bringing through inspiration, guidance, and evidence of Spirit's continued presence and love. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Rosemary Regan.
Now it's my turn. Hi, everyone. Good morning. It is such a pleasure and honor to be here. Whenever I come to the Center of Enlightenment, I feel like I am being given the warmest, most welcoming hug. It's just such a supportive place, and I am forever grateful to the pastors here for giving me this opportunity. Today, we are gathered on a sacred threshold, the summer solstice. It's a moment that has been honored for thousands of years across cultures, traditions, and spiritual paths. Even before the existence of modern timekeeping and calendars, human beings looked to the sky and understood that within the cycles of Mother Nature, there was deep significance. There is something powerful with the knowledge that today marks the height of light. The sun rises to its fullest strength. Daylight stretches farther today than on any other day of the year. Symbolically, spiritually, and emotionally, it's a moment of illumination. Now, the warmth and brilliance of illumination, it can feel complete and all-encompassing on its own. But to borrow a phrase I hope a lot of you remember from late night TV shows, but wait, there's more. And that more is what is revealed with that light of illumination. Everything that has been hidden, neglected, or left sitting quietly in the shadows is suddenly brought into view. And this doesn't only show things that we might prefer to keep unseen, it also reveals beauty that we may have overlooked. These things are the kindlings of spiritual growth. And real spiritual growth, authentic spiritual growth, is categorically uncomfortable. Because it requires entering places that are oftentimes easier to leave hidden. Many of us pray for clarity. We pray for answers. But when they arrive, we find it doesn't always bring that peace or reassurance that we were positive it would. And why is that? It's because clarity, it changes things. Once you see something, you cannot unsee it. Once Spirit reveals the truth to your heart, you cannot comfortably return to unconsciousness. And the solstice becomes more than just a date on a calendar then. It becomes an invitation. It's an invitation to ask, what in my life is ready to come to light? What gifts have I hidden or truths have I ignored? What part of myself has been quietly waiting to bloom? Now, we know nature never apologizes for blooming. Flowers do not ask permission before they open. Trees do not ask if they are worthy before growing up to the sky. They simply become what they were created for. And we as human beings, though, we ask for permission all the time. We dim ourselves. We hide our gifts. We postpone our purpose. We make ourselves smaller out of fear of judgment, rejection, criticism, or failure. But the solstice reminds us that there are seasons for expansion. There are moments where spirit gently and sometimes also not so gently says it's time to grow. It's time to heal. Stop hiding. Time to step into who you were fully created to be. This energy aligns beautifully with the month of June itself. June is 6, and that vibration carries with it themes of harmony, healing, responsibility. It's often called the number of the caretaker, the nurturer, the healer, the one who understands that love is expressed through action. Not because it sacrifices itself endlessly, but because it understands something sacred. Love is an action. Sometimes I think that people, and even those of us who are more in tune with it, misunderstand spirituality. We think it only lives in dramatic, mystical experiences, in visions, in signs, in extraordinary moments. But spirit is often found in simple, ordinary acts of love. It's found in checking on someone, listening fully when someone speaks, offering encouragement, standing beside someone in grief, choosing compassion when bitterness would be easier, and being gentle in a world that rewards hardness. That is the frequency of 6. And so the solstice represents the fullness of external light. The number 6 asks us, how are we tending that light within ourselves? How are we tending the light in each other? What good is spiritual knowledge if it never becomes kindness? What good is enlightenment if it never becomes compassion? What good is healing if it remains personal and never reaches outward to bless another life? The greatest spiritual teachers did not simply gather wisdom, they embody it. And this is where many people get stuck, because becoming the light, it sounds beautiful until you realize that light attracts attention. And attention can feel very uncomfortable, let me tell you. When you begin to heal, people notice. When you begin changing, people notice. When you become more authentic, more honest, more spiritually grounded, you guessed it, people notice. Some will celebrate your growth. Others may resent it. Not because your light is wrong, but because light has a way of exposing what people are avoiding within themselves. And if we're honest, many of us have experienced this. Sometimes people support your healing in theory only. They support you as long as your growth remains familiar to them, as long as you remain manageable, as long as your transformation does not challenge their comfort. But spirit never intended for you to fit neatly inside someone else's limitations. The sun was not created to ask us permission to shine, and neither were any of you. In knowing this, it doesn't mean we become arrogant. The solstice is not about ego. It's about alignment. There is a difference between shining and performing. There is a difference between authenticity and attention seeking. There's a difference between embodying light and demanding validation. Real spiritual maturity becomes quiet, steady, and just grounded. It becomes less concerned with appearing spiritual and more concerned with living spiritually. And this is important because the solstice also teaches balance. Today is the height of light. But immediately after today, the days slowly begin to shorten again. And I think that there's a hidden wisdom in that, because nature also reminds us then that no season lasts forever. Even moments of great illumination eventually invite rest, reflection, integration. Life was never meant to exist in constant intensity. We live in a culture that glorifies productivity, endless striving, endless movement, but nature itself doesn't even operate like that. There are seasons for blooming, seasons for harvesting, seasons of rest, and seasons of release. Wisdom comes from learning how to honor each one of those within ourselves. Some of you may currently be in a season of expansion, new opportunities, new healing, new clarity. Others, you may be quietly in a season of exhaustion, uncertainty, grief, transition. Neither season makes you more or less spiritual. The earth needs both sunlight and darkness. Growth requires both. Even seeds begin underground. The solstice invites us into honesty, into visibility, into deeper alignment. And maybe on today, one of the greatest questions that we can ask ourselves is, where have I been withholding my light? Not from ego, not for applause, but from fear. Out of fear of judgment, failure. And we do this, but yet we also agree that every meaningful thing in life requires vulnerability. To love is to be vulnerable, to heal, create, to be authentic is vulnerability. A hidden light helps no one. A candle placed under a basket cannot illuminate the room, and it will also probably set the room on fire. I personally know many people are carrying gifts that they have spent years minimizing. And intuition, compassion, creativity, wisdom, sensitivity, a voice that could change others. But somewhere along the line, we've learned that being ourselves felt wholly unsafe. And maybe the solstice gives us an opportunity to reconsider that. Spirit is asking us, some of us, to stop apologizing for who we are becoming. Now, let me be clear, becoming the light does not mean becoming perfect. Even the brightest days create shadows. Being spiritually conscious does not mean we never struggle. It means we become more willing to face ourselves honestly. That takes courage. Real spirituality is not a performance. It is integration. Sometimes one kind word changes a life. One moment of encouragement can alter the course of someone's life. Someone believing in someone can make their whole life different. We heal through connection, love, support, being witnessed, and through a safe community. Not performative kindness or transactional kindness, but real kindness that has no benefit to the giver. In a lot of ways, that's what light is. Light gives. It shines on everyone without condition or favoritism. And I think we can learn something from that. To become people who radiate warmth into spaces that desperately need it. Not because we're perfect, but because we're willing. We're willing to grow. We're willing to heal and love and remain open even after intense, soul-crushing disappointment. That is spiritual courage. And so today on this solstice, I encourage every single one of you to become more honest about who you are, I encourage you to stop shrinking what spirit is trying to expand. To trust that growth often, most for sure, definitely is going to be feeling uncomfortable before it feels natural. Honor and embrace the light and the shadows that helped shape you. And please remember that light was never meant to exist for its own sake. The purpose of light is to reveal, to guide, to warm, to encourage growth. When we allow our own light to shine, not from ego, but from authenticity, we become a beacon for others who are still finding their way. And that is the greatest gift of all. Thank you so much for being here to listen to me. I am so grateful for you guys all. Thank you. Thank you so much.